Scott.com's Sam Hellman here with national recruiting analyst Brian Doan. Today we're looking at the Virginia Cavaliers, who, you know what, they're struggling a little bit on the field, but they've got some five stars committed already in Andrew Brown and Quinn Blanding. It's a pretty exciting time in terms of recruiting, but how do they keep that momentum going with some struggles on the field?
Well, it's funny, you say exciting, I say nervous, because if you're a Virginia fan and you're jacked up that Quinn Blanding, a safety, Andrew Brown, D-tackle, are coming to your program, five-star, huge gets, and then you lead Duke 22-0 and wind up losing 35-22, and you lose by 3 touchdowns to Ball State at home, and you lose to a mediocre Maryland team by a point, and your kicker can't kick the ball through the uprights to win it, and the pressure starts mounting for the coaching staff down there. I think there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure on the coaching staff you want to see more progress. And from everything I understand, Brown and Blanding are fine as long as Mike London remains the coach. The question is, does he need to win some more games for that to happen? If he stays there, I have the utmost confidence they'll finish off the recruiting class well, but you got to start winning some games.
All right, well, let's look at the targets still on the board for them, and starting with Jamil Kamara. What do you see going on there?
Well, Kamara's interesting because if you would have told me in the summer, and I talked to him a few times in the summer, saw him at events and everything, and I always was like, man, he should just get it over with and commit to Virginia and kind of enjoy his senior season. Then he visits Pittsburgh, then he visits Wisconsin, and you start hearing, here we go, new leaders, Pittsburgh's involved heavily, Wisconsin, he's a big-bodied kid, a big receiver who you see the way Wisconsin runs their offense in the Big Ten. Big blocking receiver who can also go down the field and get it. It really, to me, has turned things there. I think Virginia needs to get him on campus, get an official in him, and kind of show him why he liked Virginia so much to begin with. But to me, at this point, I think there's reasons to be concerned that Kamara could leave the state.
Well, Weeki-Wachi offensive lineman. He's Marcus Applefield. He'll be coming to campus. What do you see from Marcus Applefield in, there's a guy that Florida State's he likes Florida State a lot. A lot of other schools like him a lot. What's going on with Virginia and Marcus Applefield?
Well, it's funny because, and I know that you talked with him in recruiting after he made that whirlwind visit where I think he visited 123 schools in 4 days over the summer. Actually, I think it was like 7 schools in 5 days. And UVA was the last school for half a day after he spent a day at Rutgers and a morning at Maryland. Burned out. It's kind of like, all right, are we going home yet? This is UVA's chance to show, hey, this is what we're all about academically. This is what we're about as a football program. This is why we need you. This is part of the rebuilding process. To me, it is a huge visit for UVA and Applefield, and it shows me that, this is going to show me how much UVA can come from behind in recruiting, and can they make a big push, because I think the kid's going to leave Florida. You mentioned Rutgers, Vandy's involved, and we'll see what else goes on with some visits, and Purdue I think is a visit he's going to take, but I think it's a huge thing for UVA to do well with this kid.
Locally, Melvin Kyan, defensive end, outside linebacker, he's been making a lot of noise lately with some visits. Virginia is very much in the race, but what do you see there compared to the other local schools that are recruiting him?
Well, I think with Melvin, UVA fits into what he wants in a program and academically. He goes to the Gilman School. Sam, you're from Virginia.
I am.
You are. You know how prestigious the Gilman School is academically. I think that's a nice transition. He was down there for an official visit. UVA did not play well. He took the positives out of it. You know Melvin. I know Melvin. He's a very positive, upbeat kid. I think he's going to make a football/academic decision, and to me that bodes well for Virginia. The key is, how hard does Penn State push, and does Maryland gain momentum in the recruiting class with him? Do they get some other commits and kind of start steering Melvin in that direction too? But when I look at it, I think UVA has a really good chance with Melvin.
Spending the afternoon with national recruiting analyst Brian Doan, talking UVA.